everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two Friends Fighting. I am Robbie.
And I am Jackson. What's up, everybody?
First of all, want to start out with saying, guys, thank you all for always tuning in, always listening, giving us feedback. It means a lot to us.
Yeah.
We'd love it if you guys can keep on doing that.
Love the support.
Yeah. Keep liking, commenting, share these videos with your friends, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube or Apple Podcasts. It really helps us go a long way with actually getting this podcast on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Which is what
we love the feedback
do.
too. We love all the comments you guys are shooting to us on Instagram. Some people shooting those out on YouTube as well. Even personal text messages, ideas for the podcast, things that you guys want to see. Yeah, it's awesome. It keeps our ideas fresh, and again, it gets the reach out there. I wanted to give some back to you guys for listening and supporting this podcast. So if you guys don't know, I have my own online fitness programming. Whether they are Is this a free giveaway, Robbie?
Well, I wouldn't say it's free, but it's a save money option if you guys are still confused about the gyms.
You guys want those discount codes?
Yeah, so basically I've got a fitness app that runs on a monthly basis with free workouts. I also have workout ebooks that are like, you don't want to pay a monthly subscription, you can just purchase a one-time ebook and it's like 30 different workouts, right? So basically, if you go onto my website, mossfitness.ca, there's options for ebooks or the app, whichever one you want. And if you enter the code 2FriendsFighting, so the number 2, Friends Fighting, all one word, for the ebooks, you get 20% off each item, or for the app, you actually get 20% off each month for the first year that you're subscribed to. Big savings.
Whoa.
Big savings. Right, so that's my way of giving back to you guys.
Go check that out, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Especially
if you missed that, just rewind the video.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to keep announcing it probably. The more I announce it, the better it gets out there. Yeah. But it's helping now, actually, because last week we talked about the Toronto gyms opening up, and right after we talked about that, the closure was actually extended. So now, instead of going back to group fitness classes, now it's like a maximum of 10 people inside the building, which means you're going to have to book your times in the gym, and you probably only have like an hour max to do something, right? Now, if you're already really good at working out and you kind of know what you want to do, that's awesome. If you are new to it, or it's been a while and you are not really sure what you want to do in the gym, but you only have that time to do it, having a workout program already planned for you right to your phone is super helpful, and that's what I am here to do.
He's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Exactly.
You will see Spider-Man crawls in these workouts, I guarantee you. But yeah, that's my little rant, guys, about my little self-promotion there. Today we want to talk about actually something.
Before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know that we are on Apple Podcasts now.
Yeah, it turns out we figured it out.
We figured that out. We figured out Apple Podcasts. We've been on Spotify for the past couple weeks now. So you can check out all of our full-length videos at Spotify or on Apple Podcasts at Two Friends Fighting.
Yeah, and so also give that a check. All on YouTube if you want to see our faces, and on YouTube we also have our mini videos, including fight breakdowns and self-bodily harm challenges.
Yeah, so you have to make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to really keep up to date with all those challenges and fight breakdowns, fight recaps, anything like that.
And previews as well.
We also want to mention that we are listening to you guys, right? So we really understand that as like a new podcast, we have a couple of different audiences, right? So obviously we're shooting these fight breakdowns and predictions, stuff like that. And we have like this fan base that want to hear all about those fight breakdowns. But we also have just a group of people that want to see us hurt ourselves, and They really loved our last hot pepper challenge video, so we're listening to you guys as well, and we're going to be having plenty more challenges coming up just like that.
Oh, what we are willing to do. Anyway, so today we're actually going to go in more like a personal note, and if you guys have been listening for a while, you know that Jackson and I met through martial arts at Pound Farm Markham. We've both been lifelong martial artists, competing, whatever else, so we just wanted to break down how we both got into martial arts. Obviously, it was at very different times. We didn't meet until we were out of high school, doing martial arts for a long time. So we're going to share our stories about how we got into it and how it's affected our lives, and then we'll go from there. So, I don't know, Jackson, do you want to start, or you want me to go first?
Let's save the best for last. So go ahead, Robbie.
Oh, painful. Okay, I'll take it. I'm okay with that. I actually got started in martial arts because I joke. Despite my very athletic appearance, obviously. I was not an athletic,
baby.
Yeah, I was not an athletic kid at all. So I wasn't good at soccer, basketball. I'm still not, actually, as you can probably attest to it. I am the world's worst volleyball player.
World's worst volleyball player. The ball will hit this guy's hands, and the ball somehow defies gravity, defies physics, and it will just drop straight down. It doesn't bounce off his hands. It falls flat to the ground, doesn't even bounce off the ground. It's weird.
Okay, easy. That was not me. That was somebody else. The ball for me will go...
Sometimes that happens
every now and then. Mostly it'll go the wrong direction either way. But
Yeah.
I don't really... Anyway, so little sob story. As a kid, I was not the most popular in school. I was bullied quite a bit.
No way.
Led to very low self-esteem, hence why I talked fast, because I was always cut off, made fun of. So I learned to talk really fast. Developed a bit of a stutter, as you guys have probably heard, and a bit of a clutter, which when my words all become one, you guys have probably heard it. It's something I'm dealing with speech therapy. Well, I used to go to speech therapy. I still work on it. Actually, teaching classes has been a huge help with that. But so when I was
Sometimes
6,
your brain just goes like too fast
too
for your
fast.
mouth, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It gets way worse when I get really excited,
Yeah.
which when I'm on camera
It's
is
like the
all
Freudian
the time.
slip, right?
Exactly.
Only you have like basically like Freudian shoes on, so you're always doing
I'm just
it.
going. Exactly. So my parents got me in Taekwondo actually when I was like 6 years old because, well, they wanted me to be active. Bless my parents, they knew the importance of physical activity in kids because obviously I wasn't a very in shape kid. I had a bit of a belly. And there were times where I did not like Taekwondo. Like it was the one thing I stuck with. They kind of forced me to stay sometimes. I'm glad they did. Because as I got older and I got more of a passion for fitness, I say passion for fitness, I wanted to get girls. So I was like, I got to get in better shape, you know?
Yeah.
I got to look better. I got to look better.
A real passion for fitness.
Yeah. So that was the stupid thing. I think that's why most boys start working out.
They all want six packs.
Yeah.
Eh?
That's why most people start working out. They want to work out to attract the opposite sex or the same sex. Either way,
that's like still to today, like why people a lot of the time work out. They want to be physically attractive.
Attractive, and the idea is if you're more physically fit, you have better sex, right? So that
I was gonna say more energy, but yeah.
Well, that translates, right? So I stuck with that for actually 12 years until from 6 to 18, I got my 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo. I was also doing self-defense jiu-jitsu on the side from when I was 13 till in my mid-20s. And I was teaching kids. That's when I knew that I actually didn't want to teach kids, but I knew that I actually enjoyed teaching martial arts, but just not to kids. So when I was 18, a friend of mine brought me to Pound for Pound to do Muay Thai because I was looking for that next thing to really catapult my physical transformation because I still wanted to get girls. I was 18.
Yeah.
It's like the peak of a young man's life where it's like the girls are everywhere. You're almost 19. You're almost legal to go to bars and stuff, right?
So that's how Robbie met his current girlfriend. She saw him from across the bar and said, "Ooh, baby, he's so physically fit.
He seems so fit and so athletic." That is absolutely not what happened. That's a tale for a different podcast for sure.
We don't want to put her on the spot.
She's gonna leave some nasty comments for sure. But yeah, and this is actually where my mindset shifted when I started at P4P because it was awesome. You know, I got a passion for the conditioning classes, watching previous episode, George St. Pierre, because he got me into watching UFC, got me into watching him. And guess what? I watched a lot of his videos. He was not just doing martial arts. He was a guy swimming, doing gymnastics, doing weightlifting. And he inspired me to really check out like strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
And then I started like competing in martial arts, and that's when fitness became actually about like performance versus like attracting ladies. Yeah. And teaching classes at P4P, and going to different gyms across Toronto, working on strength and conditioning, learning new things, eventually led me to realizing I want to do this as a career and finishing university early, a year early, going to college for fitness and health. Directing me to work at different gyms across all of the GTA, sometimes at the same time. Yeah. It was a lot of driving, a lot of hustling. And to the point where I am at now, doing my own online thing, still working at P4P because that gym is, I say that gym kind of gave me my start. They let me teach classes from them without any certification.
Shout out P for P.
Which is what most Muay Thai gyms do, right? Which makes sense. Like it makes more sense to me to hire someone that you've seen grow versus just looking at a resume because you don't really know.
Yeah.
Right? So in that way, in martial arts, doing it, even from Taekwondo as a kid to up until now, basically, I say saved my life because it gave me the confidence I didn't have as a kid. It gave me my career path. It gave me my purpose. It also gave my old childhood bullies a reason to reach out to me and apologize for being that way as kids.
Wow.
One, because obviously they grew up, and like I think as we mature, people realize, oh man, that wasn't cool.
For sure.
Second reason is because probably it's like, okay, this guy can kick my ass now. Maybe I should say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think
that's my story.
A lot to do with that first part too, right? You just kind of realize, like, as a kid, you almost feel like you have two options, right? Be the bully or be the one getting bullied, right?
Yeah, and you don't know what a bully's going through at home, so maybe they have their reasons. Maybe they don't. I choose to not look at it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I've reconciled with all the people that weren't nice to me as kids. I still see them on Instagram sometimes and Facebook and see that they're all, still alive and doing well, especially during this COVID time. So I think that's great, and it makes me feel a lot better. And I thank martial arts for that opportunity to grow in that way.
That's awesome.
And again, it gave me my career path as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
My story is maybe not quite as lengthy, but I guess we'll see.
And that's okay.
So yeah, like if you guys have been listening to any of the past episodes of the podcast, you'll know that what really, like, the beginning of my journey, I would say, is back in elementary school, like back even to like the grade like 3 and 4 and stuff like that. I would just get into like a lot of fights on the playground. Like that's just sort of what we did. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was the bully back in those days. I'd probably say that.
Completely opposite ends of the spectrum here already, but okay.
But
it's funny how that works.
But yeah, it's just sort of, we get into a lot of fights on the playground, and that was sort of the beginning of my fight journey, if you can really call those like grade 4 scraps on the playground fights. But
you're probably really cool in your head, but like you look back at like some old footage if you have any, it's like, wow, we sucked.
Yeah, and that, like, the sport that I was really into back in the day was basketball. I still, even to this day, I still do like basketball, but I like playing street ball. I didn't like playing like the whole like organized let's run this play. And maybe it's because like the coaches that I had in high school and stuff like that, I didn't really jive with their form of coaching basketball. So I sort of like fell out of love with basketball for a little bit, and I was always like an active person. So I was sort of looking for another sport to pick up. And my older brother, he was playing football at the time at our high school. So I decided, why not give football a try? Instantly I knew football wasn't for me. I like playing like a pickup game with friends, football on like the street or something. But again, the organized sport just wasn't for me. You know, that gear too, right? It's also pretty expensive. It's expensive too, and dangerous. Especially after my brother he got into a really bad accident while playing football. He tore his ACL, MCL, I think PCL too, and fractured his femur. Okay, so basically his whole knee and leg was just like devastated. Not in use. So after that, like, that was sort of an even bigger sign that football is not for me. So then, like I mentioned in one of the past episodes, I just was watching TV, and my uncle put on a UFC fight. It was the Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture fight. So that was the first one that I had ever seen. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Right? I had never seen guys like with the small gloves. Like, I'd been familiar with boxing, of course, like Muhammad Ali, like the Mike Tysons and stuff like that, the really famous boxers. And boxing was interesting to me, but not like, I didn't fall in love with boxing at all. I just found it to be almost too limiting. Whereas you get sort of shown this mixed martial arts, right? It's like, whoa, these guys are doing something different here, right? This guy is just this guy is beating this guy up and there's nothing this guy can do about it, right? Whereas a boxing match, okay, maybe one guy is beating up another, but maybe if this guy shot a takedown, maybe he takes him down and the whole fight could change, right? But because boxing has such a limited rule set, that's not happening. UFC, completely different. MMA, completely different, right? Then, it must have been like at least like a month later, I just stumbled upon, let me just check out this UFC thing. Let's see. UFC Unleashed was on, and I checked it out, and it was Anderson Silva versus Chris Levin.
Watch that fight, guys. If you find it, that'll get you interested.
Like if you've never seen a UFC fight before, check out I would actually advise you to check out Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin.
Oh yeah.
Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin. Man, Anderson Silva in his prime was absolutely insane. The stuff he'd pull off, like that's why it's called like mixed martial arts. Like this was literally an art form that I was witnessing with my eyes, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like what he's able to do to another guy who's trying to kill him is insane. I want to do that. Like I want to be able to do the stuff that Anderson Silva was doing. So then I got into Muay Thai, and which eventually led me to going to Pound for Pound, where we eventually did meet.
I think Jackson actually was one of the first members to join that gym, over a little over 10 years ago, and bless him for actually taking a shine to me when I first started, because I sucked at sparring. If you guys don't know who Vanderlei Silva is, look him up, because
Robbie was fighting like a sloppy Vanderlei Silva when I first saw him, but and then I guess so after that, that's how I really got into MMA and Muay Thai. But I would say that I think one thing that you mentioned was really important, how it helped you to boost your confidence. One thing that I like to say to any parent out there who's looking to get their kid into a sport as a young child, I think that martial arts is a really good option. And I know that a lot of parents are a little bit wary about sending their kid in the martial arts because they see it as like a violent sport. But a lot of the practicing out there, especially for kids, is very, very safe. Your kid's not going to get hurt most likely they're not going to get hurt training martial arts.
Absolutely. And this comes from two guys who have spent a long time actually teaching kids martial arts. Mm-hmm. So we know
your kid's not going to start sparring a bigger child right off the bat.
Yeah. And if they do, don't go to that gym. It's not a good gym. Simple as that.
Yeah. But I think that martial arts in general is a great way to boost your kids' confidence. It's also a good way to help them protect themselves. Maybe they are getting bullied in school, and it gives them a little bit more confidence to be able to defend themselves if a bully were to approach them and attack them, right?
Yeah. As well as discipline too. If you can build up
great discipline.
Yeah, because it involves a lot of consistency. And I find that once I got good at martial arts and developing my need to practice, my schooling got better. I would study more.
I think that's, I was actually going to bring that up as well as the discipline point for me personally. I love that aspect of it. Like boosting there's just, after doing martial arts, after training Muay Thai, there's things that I can do mentally that other people that I talk to, they can't do. Like talking about, especially if you've actually competed before and you've gone through a weight cut, there are things that you go through during a weight cut that no other person has gone through.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? They don't understand what it feels like to cut out all these things in your life with no, you can't do, there's no eating junk food. You can't have your beers on the weekend or whatever. You can't go out with friends if maybe they have a birthday party if you're cutting weight.
Mm-hmm. And it's like your goals become worth more to you than those good times.
Yeah.
Right? And it becomes this level of discipline that people can't really understand.
It's obviously a constant struggle too, right? Like you fight mentally in your own head. It's like, man, is it really worth, sometimes you have those thoughts. Is this worth maybe missing out on this person's event, or maybe you have a fight around Christmas time or around New Year's. Yeah. Then you have to be basically having a low carb Christmas. You know what I mean?
I've seen professional fighters go into the ring on January 1st. Imagine missing your New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you're a professional, maybe it's more worth it because you're getting paid. Mm-hmm. But personally, as an amateur fighter not getting paid, I personally wouldn't take a fight like that.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, and that makes sense.
And that shows, and that's probably why I'm not going to go pro. But honestly, yeah, and discipline, and it goes to show you actually, based on our 2 stories, like how martial arts can bring people of all different walks of life together. Not that you actually were the bully, maybe you were, maybe you weren't, but like as someone like
probably
me,
when I was a younger kid, but maybe similar to the story that you had brought up, it's like you reach a certain point, and I think like even going through martial arts, there's always, especially when you start, there's always somebody that can beat you up.
Absolutely.
Right? You go into the gym, maybe let's say that you are a bully, you go into the gym your first day, and maybe you're like, hey, I'm gonna dominate this gym. Let me start sparring with the best guy in here. And you're gonna get your ass kicked. Yeah, absolutely.
That's humbling.
And that's gonna be a humbling lesson for you. Yeah. Absolutely.
Martial arts can either bring you up or break you down, but it's gonna do what needs to be done to you, because maybe you need to be broken down, and it'll make you a better person. Yeah. At the end of the day, whether you have to go up or down a little bit, martial arts, I believe, will make you a better person. And I think it's done that to both of us. And it's given us... it's given us a way to stay connected as friends. We used to spar every Thursday for like rounds and rounds, just the 2 of us. Really built up both of our skills, and like developed both of our confidence and our abilities to be disciplined to certain things. And it's why we're able to do the things that we do every day.
And that just goes without saying that it's obviously like great form of exercise too.
Absolutely.
Right? That's just the cherry on top.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? And it keeps you like mentally and physically super fit, because it's whether it's you need it for stress relief or just the actual workout, whatever you need it to be, it can be that. Yeah, especially when you keep the sparring mixed in too, it just keeps your mind sharp, like your reflexes stay sharpened, you know what I mean? If you're not really sparring that much, of course you're going to get the great exercise in, but it's almost like you're missing something there. Yeah. And then with sparring too, I find that's a clear way to see if you're getting better or not. Yeah. Right? Because guess what? Maybe you're actually using what you've practiced. Yeah. Right? Maybe for 6 months you're getting beaten up by the same guy who's better than you. You don't think you're getting better. In reality, you're both getting better. He still might be a little better than you, but 6 months later, someone new walks in and you're able to dominate them. Not that you should. Don't hurt anybody, right? Like, don't scare away anyone new. But if you can really work what you want to work on against someone new, you realize, oh my God, I am actually a lot better than I used to be. Yeah, and it kind of clicks in that one moment, right? Yeah. I love that feeling. I mean, I've never hurt anybody in sparring, luckily, but I was able to actually like test myself and be able to actually like say, oh my God, I've gotten a lot better than I used to be. Yeah, it was great. Absolutely. It's a good feeling to have. So obviously, speaking of mixed martial arts and the whole journey, this podcast, part of it is talking about the fights, right? Yep. So there were some fights that happened last weekend, right? Last Saturday. It was Paul Felder versus Rafael dos Anjos. Yeah. What happened was, so on our last episode, if you did watch that, we made predictions for Dos Anjos versus Makhachev. Yep, Islam Makhachev. What happened was Makhachev fell out of the fight, so Paul Felder stepped in on a couple days' notice. Yeah, 5 days' notice. And if you guys know who Paul Felder is, he's called the Irish Dragon. He had a dirty mustache going into this fight, but he took it on 5 days' notice. He has a job. Kind of looks like our producer Jameson's mustache right now. A little bit. If you were to see hin. Maybe we can edit in a little picture like right here of Jameson's face. So Paul Felder has a job actually as a commentator for the UFC as well, right? Yeah. He's a fighter, still active as a fighter. Stepped in on 5 days. He's actually supposed to be commentating the fights he ended up being in. I didn't know that. Yeah, he took the fight in 5 days' notice. He was training for a triathlon, hadn't trained a lot of martial arts, but he's done it for so long, he's able to get back in the gym. And speaking of discipline, man, the guy was in his interview. So to back it up a little bit, he did lose a 5-round decision. Yeah, but it was so Dos Anjos did win that fight. He was very close though for a guy who didn't have a full fight camp. Was it that close though? Well, no. I mean, he didn't get finished though. So 50-45 on 2 of the scorecards. Did you see the one judge gave it 48-47 for Paul Felder? Yeah, it was split decision. That was crazy. Yeah, 50-45 on which is what I had. 50-45 for Dos Anjos. How do you give Paul Felder 3 rounds? There was sometimes I don't agree with the decision. Maybe round 1 you can give Paul Felder. But Paul Felder did look sharp in his striking though, right? So he did land some good shots. So I don't agree with that decision. But either way, for Paul Felder to go in there on 5 days' notice and come out with a split decision loss after a 5-round fight goes to show his conditioning is good, his skill is really good, but his discipline like was crazy because he had to cut 22 pounds in those 4 days.
Yeah.
Right. So, and he went in this big post-fight interview with Mike Bisping about like how dedication is key, and it's absolutely true, because he kind of talked trash about some guys who couldn't make weight. Like he did drop 22 pounds in like 4 days. Probably almost hurt himself, because like that's a serious weight cut.
That's
if you go back
to
one. Episode 2 of this podcast, we talk about it. We don't recommend that at all. It's you can lose 22 pounds in 4 days, but guess what? You're gonna gain it back in an hour.
Yeah.
And you also
your
risk
first meal that you eat, or even the first proper amount of water that you drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You also risk organ failure at that point.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not really worth it. Yes, he's an elite athlete, he can manage it, but we don't recommend anything like that. But regardless, despite his risk to his health, he did really well. Came in, saved the event basically. So kudos to
I was a little bit
Paul
disappointed
Felder.
in the fight, only because, and I kind of suspected that this was going to happen. Dos Anjos, he went to the wrestling a lot, and I'm not like one of those guys who like hates on wrestlers. Like, of course, like we come from a Muay Thai background, so I want to see them stand up and strike. But Dos Anjos, when he took him down, he wasn't really doing anything with the takedowns. It was kind of like it was really boring when he was just sort of holding him down.
Yeah. I can see how it would be like boring to watch, I guess. But I think Dos Anjos was coming at it from like a different mindset, because
of course,
Felder came in 5 days notice. He already has a job commentating because he's well spoken. Maybe he stepped in. Obviously, you don't go in a fight without wanting to win.
Yeah.
But I think Dos Anjos wanted that win a lot more, because it was more important for his career. And that comes down to like what George St. Pierre always used to say. He's going to get the win. He doesn't really care about how flashy it is.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
he was up against a dangerous opponent anyways, right? The Irish Dragons, not to be messed with.
If you look at Paul Felder's highlight reel, he has like some nasty spinning back fist, or maybe just one spinning back fist knockouts, which he threw against Dos Anjos. It didn't
He's
work.
throwing the elbows, the spinning back elbows.
Yeah, he threw some spinning stuff that he's like really good at. I remember watching that fight when he knocked out that guy with a back fist. That was my first time seeing Paul Felder. I can't remember who he fought, which is...
The one that really caught my eye was Paul Felder versus Barboza, the first fight.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was a good fight.
Yes. And Paul Felder is one of those guys who can like also like talk a good game, like be well spoken, but when he comes down to throw down, he can throw the hell down.
Hence him being a commentator, right?
Yeah.
But we do want to get into the fights that are going to be happening tomorrow, UFC 255.
Yep.
Hopefully everything stays intact with that card too.
Yeah.
But
no positive cases, no injuries.
Yeah. So UFC 255 is going to be both the male and female flyweight champions. So both champions weigh in at 125 pounds. So the men's 125 pound champion, the flyweight champion, is Davison Figueiredo.
Yep.
Current out of Brazil. Who is he fighting?
To be honest, I don't even
really know who he's fighting. I think it's Alex Perez. I think that's his name.
It might be. And the co-main event is actually, if you go back to one of our previous videos, is Valentina Shevchenko. She is phenomenal. Yeah, and I think
she's my favorite fighter, like female fighter to watch right now.
I personally think that her fight should have been the main event because she deserves it more.
I think so too. I'm way more excited for her fight. Like, who do people know more about, Valentina Shevchenko or Davison Figueiredo?
I don't know much about Davison Figueiredo except for his hair.
I saw him beat Joseph Benavidez pretty badly 2 times in a row. But
that being said, he's obviously very good. But I think in terms of star power, Valentina has been absolutely killing it. Like her fight
people in the know,
when she fought Jessica Ai and knocked her out with a high kick, I was like, oh my God, she's good.
Yeah, and very technical too.
Yeah,
very technical.
Who's she fighting tomorrow?
I think her name is Jennifer Maia. I was looking at it earlier. Oh, nice. I don't. That's how you know this is not exactly a strong pay-per-view card.
Yeah. The challengers
are not well known. Like, and we're like into the UFC. Like, me personally, I watch just about everything. Like every event, and I barely know either one of these fighters. I couldn't name a single fight that either one of them was in.
A strong card definitely requires both the challenger and champion to have some sort of star power. Because
sometimes just the champion can carry
absolutely
carry the card,
but it depends on the champion. And unfortunately, I don't think Shevchenko or what's his last?
Figueiredo?
Figueiredo.
Can't even say that. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think they actually bring enough yet. As Shevchenko totally could.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's been well enough marketed personally.
I know.
Yeah.
The Bullet. Her nickname's the Bullet. She's got like fast. A gun tattooed on her rib cage too, and she's like a Russian killer. Like,
the problem might be that, like, there might be the language barrier. She speaks English, but it's that accent, right? So maybe
speaks English, Spanish too, and Russian.
Yeah, maybe it's that like accent, right? And sometimes it doesn't always work out. It's unfortunate. But like, think about the best speakers they have. Even Conor McGregor, for some reason, the Irish accent works so well. It's so marketable.
Yeah, it does.
Crazy. And George St. Pierre, like, his fresh accent, who, by the way, actually, I realize now was the very first fight that I watched.
Everyone makes fun of the George St. Pierre accent.
Well, his voice does not match his face.
I would like to thank Dana White. I want to thank
I am not
the
impressed
UFC.
with your performance.
Yeah.
It's definitely for how
My
tough.
name is George Roche St. Pierre.
Definitely
and
for
I
his
play
face,
different.
His
you ever
voice
see
does not. Yeah, his Triple Eight poker.
His poker commercial.
He does his like the flipping kick. Like, his voice definitely doesn't match his face. He looks very tough.
Oh yeah,
but his voice is like very high pitched.
He's the French robot.
Exactly. I remember he was my very first fight that I watched. Him beating the crap out of Jake Shields.
That was the first fight you watched of GSP?
The first fight in the UFC I saw, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the first fight you ever saw in the UFC?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad would just like, look at the body on that guy.
So you didn't see UFC like 100? Because that was after UFC 100.
No, I didn't get into the UFC until I started.
You didn't see like Brock Lesnar, any of his fights then?
I saw him come back against Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
Right, but I didn't see him live. I didn't get into the UFC until I started Muay Thai, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So I was a bit late.
Yeah, you can obviously go back and watch the fights too, right?
Absolutely. I was a bit late to the game.
Yeah.
But like, my dad was always very impressed with GSP, obviously because he was Canadian.
Yeah.
And that's why I started looking him up and getting into martial arts. And
yeah, he definitely made the UFC a lot more popular in Canada, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Robbie, let's place our bets here.
Okay.
And we want you to place your bets too. If you even know who these guys are fighting this weekend. Let's see. Let's start off with the main event, even though the real main event is the co-main. But let's start off with the main event. Deiveson Figueiredo against, I think his name is Alex Perez.
Well, based on the fact that I don't know who Alex Perez is, and Deiveson Figueiredo, obviously if he's the champion, he's been there for a reason. So I'm going to place my bets on him. Obviously he can hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm going with Figueiredo as well. So, pretty cut and clear. Well, if you don't even know who the other guy is, most of the time you're going to pick the guy who you do know. Although,
based on your curse, maybe President.
In the Andrei Arlovsky fight, I did pick the guy who I never even heard of, just because I don't have much faith in Arlovsky, and Arlovsky ended up winning that fight. But
we'll see. Who knows? And I think it's pretty obvious. Like,
co-main event: Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. We're both going with Shevchenko.
Absolutely, Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah. She is absolutely phenomenal. If you guys don't know who she is, really check her out on Instagram, give her a follow, get her marketability up, because she's really, really good.
Yeah, like I said, my favorite female fighter to watch at this point.
Technical striking to next level. Her jiu-jitsu, her grappling game has gotten so much better.
Yeah, if you watched our top 5, well, actually, no, we did a top 5 female GOAT list, greatest of all time list, and I believe last episode.
Yeah.
And I had her, I think, at number 2 on my.
Yeah, we both had Nunez on number 1, but I think she's either 2 or 3 for me, because she's just really good, and she's beaten a lot of the bigger names out there.
Yeah, there's also another fight on that card that I just heard about right before the podcast. Mike Perry is fighting. He's fighting the Dirty Bird, Tim Means. Tim Means actually looks like Tom Brady. Have you ever seen like?
I've seen Tim Means, but it's been. It looks like if
you put side by side Tim Means and Tom Brady, they look very similar.
That's good for Tim Means. Don't get hit.
You got a pick on that fight?
I'm gonna go actually.
That's a tough one to pick. I think that Tim Means is definitely a little bit more savage. He's got like sharper technique, but I think Mike Perry's got like the power to. Because I think that Tim Means hasn't really shown a good case for like having a super strong chin. I think Mike Perry might be. I don't know.
Okay, well, this can be the one we differ on. If you're gonna pick Mike Perry,
I don't know yet. I want to hear your reasoning for why you're gonna pick.
I don't really have like a good pick for either of these guys, but I'm going to pick Tim Means just because I can't tell you why there's something I don't like about Mike Perry.
Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tim Means just because I kind of want to see Mike Perry take a beating a little bit.
Yeah, you know,
Mike Perry was dropping the N-word for a time too.
Yeah.
And he found out he was like 1% like African on his like ancestry report, and he started dropping the N-word.
Yeah,
I gotta
still
pick
not
against
okay.
him. I hope
still
he gets,
not okay.
I just remembered that. I'm definitely picking against Mike Perry. I'm gonna go Tim Means.
Two Friends Fighting is not racist, and we
do not support any of the comment.
Black
Public
Lives Matter.
service announcement. We do not support any of the comments made by Mike Perry.
Hashtag screw you, Mike Perry. He's definitely going to sue us.
Okay, so Robbie, we're coming around to the end of this podcast today, right? So we want to go over our segment that we do every week, right? What are you fighting for? Do you have one this week?
Yeah, with the extended closures of Toronto gyms, like a lot of my friends are either Toronto gym owners, or they are like managers, or they work in Toronto gyms. So I like to fight for the idea that everyone should get, like, same as last week, kind of get back into it within your respected limits, obviously. Like, find something you like to do fitness wise that you can do within the hour, and book the time in. Support these businesses, because they're having a hard time right now, especially everyone is, but business owners, and I'm biased because I'm also in the fitness industry, and I've got friends who are like that too. So I'm fighting for people to, do their best within safe protocols to get back in the gym and show support to these businesses who need their help. Not Good Life's, not big, like your boutique fitness facilities, like the one of a kind places that my friends work at. Support them. They're the ones that are gonna get you in better shape than Good Life ever will.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one.
Thank you.
A good one.
Thank you.
This week, I would like to, it's sort of in the same vein that we were talking about of what really got us into mixed martial arts and Muay Thai. I'm going to be talking about what I'm fighting for is everyone to really follow their passions. It doesn't have to be martial arts. If you don't have a passion for martial arts, so be it. Maybe find something that you like doing, right? Life without passion, like what is a life without passion? Is it really worth much living, right? Even if your passion is your children, like show your children as much love and respect as you can. Like do things with your children. Maybe your passion is art. Like my brother, he has a passion for art. Follow that passion, right? Live life with passion, and you're gonna have a much more enjoyable life.
Find something you love to do. Won't feel like work. Simple as that.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a very good one.
You like that one, eh?
Some good ones today,
Yeah. I had that one pre-planned.
Oh yeah, nice. Look at that. We're planning ahead.
Look at that, everybody.
This is called growth.
So we are hitting the end of today's episode. We just want to give a call back to the beginning of today's episode, how we were talking about how we really appreciate everyone's love, support, comments, ideas on our podcast. We really, really appreciate it. We do want more ideas, guys. If you have anything that you would like to see, we already have done a couple of the ideas that we've been shouted out for. So if you have any ideas, let us know through Instagram. You can shoot us out at 2FriendsFighting, or our personal Instagrams. They're going to be linked in the video as well. Or if you have our phone numbers, text it to us.
If you're that close to us, absolutely.
Leave us a comment in the YouTube section. Go check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because we're there now.
Yeah, give the episode a 5-star rating and a download. It really helps a long way. Same as on YouTube. Give it a like, leave a comment, and again, guys, please share it with your friends, because that's the best way to get it out there, right? And the more people we can reach, the better we can do, the better we can serve you, and keep this podcast going. And one last time, guys, if you go to my website and you are in need of like some sort of like fitness idea, you can
get that coupon, guys.
You can use the code 2FriendsFighting. Again, number 2, Friends Fighting, all one word. They get 20% off all products, and it'll really help you, especially if you go to a gym where you only have an hour or maybe less within a certain limited space.
Yeah, this was a fun one today, Robbie.
I like this one actually. This was good. Actually, I like all of them.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I'm Jackson.
I'm Robbie.
Peace, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
This is 2 Friends Fighting.
Thanks a lot for listening. Of course, that is a handsome, pretty sentence, so there was this decline right there. It's like, oh, that's the same thing.
I'm handsome, I'm pretty, I'm attractive, I'm beautiful.